I mean, we can do research on marginalized communities, or we can do research with marginalized communities. And certainly over the last 10 years, we have increasingly formed partnerships with the populations that we seek to develop knowledge with and ask them. So a lot of projects will start with, say you're doing work with youth as a marginalized community or Indigenous people, and you're working with Indigenous researchers, so you'll bring together an advisory council to sort of help you steer your research. That's an entry point into navigating through the ethics of that. The advisory council is often used as a body where sort of a Senate. So you design a research protocol and then you take it to the advisory council and say, does this resonate? Does this make sense? Have we forgotten anything? And I think that's an important getting your toe into the ethics of working with marginalized communities. But I think the far more effective approach is to really think through participatory action research and community-based research, where you're co-producing knowledge with the community itself. It takes time. It often takes at least 2 or 3 years or even longer to build up relationships of trust with the community, particularly if it's a community that is marginalized and vulnerable in particular ways. But building those relationships is really important because it allows you to go beyond mere tokenism and really get into that co-production of knowledge. Research is about questions and not outcomes. So when we're approached by a community to do this kind of collaborative research, it's with a question, not necessarily with an outcome. So I can give you an example. My friend Val Michelson was at Queen's. She's now at Brock, and she had a youth advisory committee that was helping her with a project that she had initiated. And they sat down one day, they're teenagers, and they crossed their arms. They say, we have things we want to know. We want to do our own research. And they were really interested in exploring their own experiences with social media. So she brought me down and I sort of said, hey, here's, the data I have from talking to people your age and with intersecting identities, in different parts of the country. Together, we co-crafted a question. So they were interested in how these new technologies were impacting them, and they focused on their connection. This stuff is changing my life. Sometimes it's okay, but I think there are problems. I want to know how it affects my connection with myself, my connection with other people, and my connection with nature. And then we looked at the methodologies that were available and ended up doing sort of like a media fast for 2 weeks. And we did data collection through a number of different methods. Other things we've tried especially with young people from marginalized communities is art. Art is a phenomenal way to explore the meaning of technology in young people's lives. They're able to express their concerns, their joys, their fears through art. I've done improv, which has been incredibly effective, getting into school drama classes and just improving situations. And so it's looking for those kinds of methods that allow you to ask questions and pursuing those questions together as a community.